Check, check. 1, 2. Good evening. I would like to call to order this evening's meeting of the Hermosa Beach City School District. Can we start with a call to order, Dinah?
Board Member Barrow.
Present.
Board Member Bove-LaMonica.
Present.
Vice President Clerk Cole.
Present.
President Kluth.
Present.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to public comments. Public comments from the audience to the board for items on closed session. Members of the audience may address the board regarding closed session agenda items. Comments from visitors shall not exceed 3 minutes unless approved by a majority of the board. Seeing nobody in person, Dinah, do we have anybody virtual?
No one online.
Okay. With that, we will adjourn to closed session and come back for open in 2 hours. Dinah, we're ready? All right. I will bring this meeting back to order. Welcome to the open session of the Hermosa Beach City School District. Dinah, can we start with a call to order?
Board Member Barrow.
Present.
Board Member Bove LaMonica.
Present.
Vice President Clerk Cole.
Present.
President Cluth.
Present.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you very much. Okay, from closed session, this is my report from closed session. The board took action to appoint Sylvia Gluck as acting superintendent, effective July 1st, 2024 through and including July 10th, 2024, subject to an employment contract to be approved at the board's regular board meeting of July 10th, 2024. The roll call vote was as follows. Yes, Kathy Barrow. Yes, Maggie Bove-LaMonica. Yes, Jennifer Cole. Yes, Quentin Cluth. All right. Now let's move to the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Maggie. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda is approved. Next, we move to exciting business, sad, bittersweet business. Announcements, employee appreciation for the superintendent. I would love to call on my colleagues, starting there or starting there? I should start over here? All right, I will start. So there is a certificate, and there may be speakers other than board members, but I thought I would start with the board members. Oh, are there any members of the audience who would like to come and address this bittersweet moment? We would love you to we'd welcome you to come up to the dais, and if you don't look too shifty, we won't worry about the timekeeping. Move to suspend the rules on timekeeping? Okay.
Oh.
I second that.
Not too much.
Second that. All in favor? Aye.
You've watched some of our meetings, right? If I get on a roll. I'll start off. School board and city staff, school staff, my Detroit resident and parent of soon-to-be 2 children in the school district. And I just want to come and just thank you for the hard work that the board has done in the last 4 years in supporting Dr. Johnson, hiring him, and all the hard work over the last few years. We will, our little guy will be the benefit of preschool, which we're very excited about in the fall. And Tessa is just crushing it in kindergarten, going into 1st grade, and enjoying the new schools and the infrastructure that not only the school board, but the staff has done for the district, and the continued partnership with the whole city. It's truly what I believe, and hopefully you do as well, a role model relationship that hopefully all of our neighboring cities are jealous of. So thank you. We're sad to see you go. Looking at houses in El Segundo now, but just kidding.
Good evening, Mr. President, school board, school staff, Dr. Johnson. What an honor. It's been a fantastic ride. We moved here in large part because of the schools, and I'm a Florida boy. I came here, thought we'd be here 2 or 3 years, and then moved back to Florida, live happily ever after. And you couldn't pry me, you couldn't pay me to go back. We discovered Hermosa Beach, the schools, the community, and when I first met you, it was bittersweet because I said, man, this guy's a rock star. I love him. He's going to be great for us. But man, I hope we can keep him. Because, it was obvious that you would be highly sought after. We were fortunate to get you, super choice by our school board. And, the fact that we got you for 4 years is great because your list of accomplishments is many. It has been a fantastic ride to work with you and the school board. We've gotten so much done. We're on such a positive trajectory, so many good things happening in part because of your leadership and the partnership that we have with you all. So thank you to the best dressed man in Hermosa Beach consistently. I don't know who shows up at events more, you or Al Marisucci, but every time I turn around, you're there. And oftentimes I don't expect you there. I'm like, what the hell is Dr. Johnson doing here, right? You've got your kid in tow, and it's awesome. You show up, you walk the walk, and you talk the talk. So on behalf of my fellow colleagues, thank you. You've got the wave, but you need something to ride the wave with. So we've got the highly coveted Hermosa Beach surfboard, the best little beach city. And we'll get some signatures on this and get this to you. So thank you, Dr. Johnson, and it's truly been a pleasure.
So I don't think I can add too much more to that, but I do want to share from a staff perspective. So, I was on the other side for 15 years as an elected and started at the school board. And I've come to know a lot of cities and school boards that don't have the kind of relationship we do here in the city. I don't think that's a secret, and I don't think I'm telling tales by sharing that. It's just something that we're all concerned about, whether we're on the school board or on the city council or respective staff. But your joining this team, this city, your selection of someone like Jason, who doesn't just have the intellectual capabilities and policy capabilities to be a great superintendent, but has the personality and all of the personal attributes you need in an effective CEO of an organization to make these things work. And so that is whom you have selected, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am. I feel that this relationship you have helped build with an amazing board is why we are so functional in our relationship, more than functional, really excelling in our relationship as a respective staff and respective policy boards. It matters. It matters for outcomes. It matters for kids. It matters for families. And these two organizations don't look at its respective constituencies as just their constituencies. They are our shared constituency, and you helped with that. That takes a lot. You've created this mold, as our council members have said, and really a framework that we can build on. So the challenge is to us to build on that. And if Chief were here, he would say the same thing. I am here speaking on behalf of all department heads. We have done things with you here in the school board and school district that I don't think the city had done previously. Having a joint emergency preparedness exercise, full house of agency representatives, our parents have to feel as though this is a priority for us because both the city and the school district are working so closely together. And that's palpable. That's not even something that, we have a huge document as a result of that exercise, but it transcends beyond that. I also wanted to share, I'm not quite sure how I would have gotten through COVID without this man. He probably could be charging me for our weekly Friday sessions that we've had. I may still call you. I'm not sure who else can fill your shoes, but thank you for that. So thank you for all of the professional friendship you've provided, but also the personal friendship. It's not an easy task to be in his seat, in his shoes. He makes it look easy, but it's not easy. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much. Before I turn to my board colleagues, was there anybody else? Okay. We'll come back. Maggie.
I was just hoping off of Suja's comments, if we had that rap video we could queue up.
Which I read for the board, for the record.
The rap, that was possibly one of your finer moments, Dr. Johnson. No, you want the board to sign it? We're missing Doug, but we'll sign it. Yeah.
Sorry to break here.
Okay.
Sorry, can't get off a rap. Okay. Stone cold killer reading that out. Jason, I have so admired your ability to be kids first in everything you've done. You have always come in with that as your non-negotiable, absolute essential part of the conversation. And no matter where a policy conversation has gone, you've always brought it back to that. And that is part of who you are, especially when you're thinking about, even when it comes to budget, right? How does it impact kids? And I think that is an essential part of being a true educator, and you've always demonstrated that. In addition to that, with the high standards, right? We're always talking about how do we elevate, how do we keep pushing kids because they deserve our very best. So at its core, that is, I so admire that about you. On professional levels, you've been such a great thought partner when it comes to the field of education. You know, we were thinking through how do we challenge incoming superintendents to think about Hermosa Beach as being a model of innovation, not for innovation's sake, but because it's possible to do anything here. And you have always also set that as a guiding North Star of 1,400 kids, what can't we do to make this a great place? Whether it was the joint city emergency piece, I forgot about that. That was such a great walkthrough that we did, and how it set up the conversations for, what do you mean we don't have their phone number? Who actually staffs that line, right? All of those conversations. But in addition, you've kept a vision, now that we know it's Sylvia's vision board, but you've kept a vision up there for where we should be driving the district. And I think it also speaks to just how you've brought in some of the staff on that. I think in terms of the conversations we've had, you didn't directly say no to ideas, and so that was just like we kept the conversation going on certain pieces that I've appreciated on where we could think through different ways to improve the district. On a personal level, love being able to talk to you about the news and the policy shots that happen. You know, I know you're the only other person out there reading 3 other newspaper articles on different political gossip on who's doing what where in LA city politics, so thank you for indulging that side. Same way with your one-off history quotes, that because where you're listening to or reading novels on the side, I don't know, but I've always appreciated that you just drop in those nuggets. And then lastly, another superintendent had told me, you know, if you don't cry or yell at your superintendent as a board member at least once, it's not really truly a good relationship. So, you know, we've been there, so obviously we have just the best of relationships. Not only can we laugh, we can yell. So it's kind of like family dinner. But thank you for your service to Hermosa. It has been a pleasure having you at the helm. Well, that's a really important moment in time.
No, I was just making space for my other board members. Jen, I think Jen was captivated by it because she was next.
Yeah. What is the score?
Jen, go ahead.
You ready yet? You ready? Are you listening? Okay, good. No, I'll just really try. No, I've been in education now for, I think it's like 26 years. And this time period, the last 4 years, has been some of the most rewarding years professionally working alongside you for me. Building what we all now call the best little beach school district out there. So it's been a real great ride with you. You've been an incredible teammate, often wise beyond your years, and a very trusted confidant, and I really appreciate that. And I know we'll continue to work together in some capacity as the next chapter unfolds. Hermosa and the city of Hermosa, as was just described by our city council and our city staff, and the students and the families in this area and the community members have been so lucky to have you. I mean, we are all so grateful. You have really done a great job making what I'd consider transformational and literal structural changes in our community and improved this place since you've been here. So we are lucky to have you. And you've done a great job leaving your mark. So I'm super proud of you as, you know, as a board member, but just as your friend and colleague. I'm just excited for you and what comes next. And I'm sorry we're going to lose you, but you have put in place a lot of great systems here that are going to keep going. So thank you for that.
I said everything I wanted to say last week. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I saw you in 2 different realms. When you first came, I was still teaching. I didn't love you then, and I've told you that. But I grew to love you and appreciate you and understand that you had to come in and that under those circumstances in a certain way to make everything calm down because COVID had hit and everything was going crazy. But I did enjoy our biweekly meetings. We talked about tennis, we talked about matchmaking, potentially. But I did learn a lot about, and I've already said this last week, governance. I mean, I learned everything I know currently, which is not a lot, it's like this much, but I learned a lot from you. And I do appreciate where you've started us going, the direction that we're headed in, and hopefully we can find a new superintendent that will continue that direction. El Segundo's lucky to have you, so good luck. You're welcome.
Sylvia, I would like to, did you want to have the last word? Why don't you go?
Well, she has a 5-page brief here.
Do you want to give him the wave down there?
Well, I have a wave when we have something else.
There's a wave. I didn't get a wave yet.
All right, you want to come down there and call it?
A tidal wave?
Sylvia, why don't you do it down there?
Yeah, I'll do it down.
All right, all right.
No, you have to
No,
come
you have to
stand.
go down there,
You
come
have
on.
to stand there. We're going to come get a picture.
So we have some things for you.
Nice. Booze.
And the famous wave. You have to leave with this.
Excellent. A very large wave as well, too. It's good.
Okay. Today we acknowledge our incredible superintendent, Jason Johnson, who bravely took the reins of our district during COVID-19 pandemic, a time when toilet paper was more valuable than gold and Zoom meetings became a new reality. Jason, you stepped in with the energy of a millennial and the patience of a saint, steering us through school closures, virtual classrooms, and more mask debates than we care to remember. Under your leadership, our district has reached new heights. We've been honored with California Distinguished Schools recognitions, the Golden Bell Award, and the Pivotal Practice Award. In fact, we've received so many awards in the last 4 years that our school offices ran out of space. So we had to put them outside like an art exhibit for the whole community to admire. These accolades reflect the passion and the dedication that Jason has ignited in all of us. But it wasn't all work and play, and no play. Thanks to Jason, our staff bonding games reached Olympic levels. Remember the epic holiday party where we discovered who among us could really bust a tune? The staff barbecues that had all dads competing, who made the best hamburger? And the ice cream socials, where our staff's children indulged in enough sugar to keep their parents up all night. Jason, you made outside of work fun, which felt a lot more like a family gathering. You didn't stop there. With expanded programming and strategic partnerships and community groups, you ensured our students were never short of opportunities. And collaborating with high schools and neighboring sports teams, genius. Our schools became the place to be and are now dubbed destination schools, and it's all thanks to your innovative thinking. As we say goodbye, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for your leadership, your vision, and believing in my vision board, as the word impossible never lived in our vocabulary. You will be sorely missed, and not just because you remembered everyone's birthday. Thank you, Jason. We could not leave without giving you a wave of recognition.
Ah, yes. Excellent. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
All right. We'll take a picture. I just wanted to say, I'm not going to try to recap everything everybody else said. I agree with it. I wanted to touch on accomplishments and character. I think there have been innumerable accomplishments in your 4 years here. There's a handful that jump right out, though. In a really, really difficult time, you came into a brand new district, and we were able to open for our most needy students faster than anybody else. We got the rest of the schools open progressively, I think much faster than just about anybody else in California state. And I think that proved itself to be prescient and wise and healthy for our kids. And I think our whole community is thankful for that. And that really was, leadership. A lot of the things that happen in a school district are, the consequence of a lot of people pulling together. But that was a real demonstration of leadership, I think. Another one, we have new schools and a new preschool, and that was a joint effort. And the new schools in particular were on their way prior to you coming in, but you finished them up. You got us through some bumps in the road from the capital program, and you championed us bringing in a new preschool, which was fantastic. And our whole community is, again, I think, thankful and appreciative of that. Those are things that we really needed in our community. Third, in terms of accomplishments, great leadership and a great team. There was turnover at the start of you being here, and there always is in any organization, and you have staffed your team with fantastic people, and we are stronger for it. And while we're going to miss you tremendously, we feel good about where we are, largely because of that team that you brought in, that you hired, that you mentored. So that was fantastic. And lastly, I'm going to point out just the major progress we made in programs. And I could go on for a long time here, but I'll just mention a few. Our Spanish program is now in a much, much better place. We're serving more kids. We're doing so in a more disciplined way, in a more rigorous way. And our kids are now articulating into Spanish 2 in Miracosta and Redondo, which they weren't necessarily doing before that. Our science program in middle school has really dramatically improved. We're in the middle of a curriculum adoption. We've got new staffing. We've got new energy. It's just, it's night and day from where we were 4 years ago, and it's fantastic. The overall, two other programming notes, social emotional wellness has, a lot of people have talked about it, but we've really put teeth behind it, right? And that was a real big community effort, and some of my board colleagues championed that as well. But you were a big champion of that, and you were there for it and supported it and helped lead it. And we measure it and we take it seriously. And I think as a result of that, more of our kids have a welcoming place to go to school, feel like they belong, and that's key. And then lastly, I just point out, it's a little bit linked to COVID. Our academic performance is fantastic. We're a top school, and we're in an affluent, fortunate area, and so we start from a good place. But many districts saw a lot of learning loss through COVID, and we didn't. And that was partly because we got back early. It's partly because our parents are so incredibly supportive. It's partly because our students and teachers work so hard. But you deserve a lot of the credit for that as well. And that's really the core mission. And one of our values is excellence, and you've really delivered on that. As for character, I won't go on too long, I promise, but I want to point out professionalism, which I think, you always put the district first, and you always act with incredible integrity. And being a professional is one of the highest compliments I can pay. I think that's a high compliment in my eyes. You're incredibly knowledgeable. I learned a ton about education from you, and have just an immense amount of respect for the knowledge you have and the rigor of that knowledge that you have. It's not just stuff you've learned in the classroom. You've read. You're a scholar, and you really bring that to the fore, which is great. You're passionate. A lot of other folks have said that, and it comes through every day. And you're an incredibly hard worker. And I think those character traits are an incredibly important complement to the accomplishments. They're how you've brought people along and how you've, served our district so well, and why we've benefited so much from having you. So thank you very much. We're going to miss you. We wish you the best of luck, and El Segundo is going to be in great hands. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will be complete yet concise. I just want to say I've never quite felt at home with individual recognition because I'm a generally awkward person at times, and also because when you're the leader, you truly understand that it is a team effort that contributes to education. To me, for any accomplishment, there's probably someone more responsible than I. You mean starting with the great Sylvia Gluck, as well as all the educators in the community. So I very much, any success that's been had here has been a result of a great community that I've been lucky enough to have been part of. And that all begins and ends really with the board, and why I'm confident that the board will hire the next great superintendent who will continue to take the district even farther. Thank you. Yeah.
Dinah, you should get in here too.
No, mind that. Thanks. Yeah, this is solid. Yeah, this is a hard wave. Great.
Then you like each other.
You still gotta use the other phone, right?
Wait, you gotta do the classic selfie with us in the background.
Come on, you gotta do it. All right. We're our final one. Well, our final one in these shapes.
Very nice. There we go.
It's not about me. All right, everybody sign the surfboard, don't forget.
Thank you all. I'll collect all these, all the yeah. They finally got it, and I'll collect this at the end. Thank you everyone, appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. I don't know if we want to adjourn yet. Okay. Let's go to public comments. Members of the audience may address the board on any topic, regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda. However, the board may not discuss issues raised that are not listed on the agenda. Topics not on the agenda that are brought to the board's attention may be investigated by the administration, and a report made to the board either publicly or privately at a future meeting. Comments from visitors shall not exceed 3 minutes per speaker unless waived by a majority of all the members of the board. Are there any public comments? Seeing none in person, Dinah, do we have any virtual comments?
No one online.
All right, with no public comments forthcoming, we will move on to the next item. Pardon? All right, item 9, superintendent report and board discussion. Item R35, 23/24, Tenkate synthetic turf for sports and landscaping. Mr. Di Geronimo and Mr. Morales. Okay, please. We're happy with just, and we're very thankful you came and prepared this for us. Thank you.
Guys, thank you guys for having me. It'd be tough to follow all that. But yeah, congratulations. Sorry. Yep, congratulations. Okay. So I'm Dave DiGeronimo, VP of the West for Tenkate Grass North America. And going to talk to you tonight about one of our breakthroughs, which we started in 2019, which is called the Pivot product. And what the special part of this product is, we've developed a product that does not utilize any traditional infills that you may be associating with synthetic turf that you've seen in the past. So I'll start it and go from there. Okay. Here's a slide of the current conditions at Hermosa Vista School, which is what we were asked to come up and take a look at probably a couple months ago. And just kind of give an assessment in regard to what it would cost to transition this into a synthetic turf pitch for consideration. So this photo just shows you, I believe it's the existing conditions now. Okay. So some of the advantages and disadvantages of natural grass, we all know, are the dynamics between player and surface for natural grass, the history and preference, acceptability of it, the availability, relatively low cost to install it. Okay. The disadvantages, though, especially when you get into, I would call them more urban areas or lower square footage areas where you get tighter amount of footprints and more consolidated areas, is you get the playability in favor of weather, usability limitations, wear and tear, unevenness in the playing field, and your maintenance cost. Okay. This slide just gives you some comparables in relationship to natural grass versus synthetic turf. Really what it boils down to, just to go to the next one, and the easiest way for me to explain it is it comes down to events, right? So to me, like a pitch is a sports field. I know it's an easy way to kind of categorize it, but it's actually the largest classroom on campus, in my opinion, because frankly, you have everybody out there. You know, you got recess, you got PE, you know, you may have sporting events, but you have like a communal space that everybody's drawn to. So what it comes down to for me is it comes down to the easiest way to compare the two is events and how you know, an event in this particular slide is in relationship to like practice or a game, right? But in our spaces, an event is anytime you get on top of it, okay? Because when you get on top of it out here, what you don't have, what they do have back east is they've got a thing called rest. And because we live in beautiful California, we never rest. So that gives the surfaces, when they're natural, not time to keep up with the actual the usability of it, and then also the events that occur. And again, an event could be anything from a game to just a PE class to the cheerleaders to, I don't know, science team just going out, science class just going out there to hang out, any of those types of things. So what Pivot is, right, is they call it the 4th generation synthetic turf. Simply put, it has no infill. Okay, the goal was to develop a product that didn't use infill to reduce the amount of carbon footprint we put every time we do a construction project, and to create what we like to call is developed player feedback with high-speed cameras and biometrics at our Sports Institute. So what we have over in Holland, we're a Holland-based company. We've got this place called the CTI, the player focus. It's basically where we strap on cameras to people, accrometers, and we work them out. So in our world, and in natural grass world, they have all this stuff called third-party testing, like FIFA, Major League Baseball, NFL, NCAA. All that stuff's great to a certain level because it's all done with mechanical machines. Okay, mechanical machines don't really replicate the overall experience that an athlete's having on a surface. Okay, because I mean, sports and usability is all about a lot of it. I mean, 99% of it's mental. So if a player is uncomfortable on a surface, they're going to perform this way. If they're comfortable, they're going to perform this way. If they feel, if they're in between, they're going to perform this way. So what we've done is we use this center to bring them in and work them out. And we partner with a club over there called PSV, which is a professional soccer club in Holland. And we rotate pitches in and out. We're always practicing, always putting in new stuff. And these are these guys here. So we work on their campus and we work with them, and they basically allow us to guinea pig them. I don't mean that rudely, but that's essentially what they're doing for us. And that allows us to really look at how they're feeling. And this is our Dr. Colin, Mr. Young, Dr. Young. He's the head of all of our research and development, and he runs the program over there. So as you can see from the video, we're calibrating everything we can to get the best feedback out of what the players are feeling, so we can explain it in these meetings. So again, it's a huge investment on our behalf. This product alone, we started in 2019, and it's run us now probably about $24 million in investment. One thing about Tenkata, we're a 300-year-old textile company. We're not a sales company. We really don't believe in sales. We believe in technology and development. And the reason I say that is because if you get into our space with turf, you'll find a lot of sales pitches that were kind of experiments that went on to surfaces that then really the players kind of, they were the ones at detriment of those sales pitches. So what we're doing is, again, like I said, it's very in depth with how players and people are playing on our surface and how we can always better ourselves. So this is just a bar graph in relationship to friction, grip, and force. And it's got a lot of wonderful numbers, and it talks a lot. But what it is trying to show you here, right, is you have SBR. And SBR is the old infill, the black rubber pellets, okay? They're still used today. You can use them today if you want. But this gives you an idea of what a rubber field's doing from a high level of it to a low level of it to what our non-infill is doing. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get within that green spot. That green spot's natural grass, okay? So as you can see from this chart, the non-infill is getting us much closer to where we want to be. And so that's what we want to do. The other thing we look at is recoil. Recoil is what you want to see when a player, and I'll show you a video, but basically when they hit the surface and they slide. Okay, you don't want a player to stick, and what you'll see in the videos is angles, okay, of lower extremities. High stick, you're up. Low stick, you're down. Good stick, you're like this. So the whole reason we do that is just to try to alleviate lower extremity injuries. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you we can do that overnight, but we're working towards it. And, you know, that conversation is one that's interesting because a lot of the comparisons are all to the rubber fields. And as we move into this generation of turf, what you're going to see is a lot of those numbers going down because of the removal of rubber. So this, can you play that? So this gives you, so you can see how their ankles are moving on rubber. This just gives you what the athlete's doing. And again, the key for this is the ankle and how it wobbles. Again, the fly out, the black rubber, that's another thing we do not want to see. This is a comparison. I don't see the labeling on it. That one looks like a lower rubber system. These are just traditional systems. This has nothing to do with this product. This is just showing you what they do, how they react underneath the foot. I do an overlay coming up. Okay. So grip and lower force. So system with high rubber, low mass, right? Rubber cleats grip it very high, no release out on or slide of force, and the feedback is very high in grip. So if I was having a conversation with a gentleman earlier, simply put, some players like that because they can do stuff on game day they really can't do on natural grass. Okay, they've got a they've got a high sense of security, but they've also got a lot of taxing going on. Is there a way to play that lower video? Or those two videos? Yeah, start with that one, if you don't mind. I apologize. So you can see how he sticks, see how his angle's up. He releases, but he didn't move. I mean, it was like Velcro. Not from what we're seeing, because you're putting all that force and it's just standing you up, which is stressing your lowers. If you do the lower video. So this is the pivot product. And what you'll see is the slide to there, roughly 20 to 23 millimeters. It's more angled. Correct, and there's slides in here that show you that. So what we want is we want that to occur. Okay, we're not the old school approach to this thing is, you know, get them stuck in there like glue, and that's great. Well, we've learned that's not great. Okay, thank you. So this just gives you a good illustration of how when we hook them up, what they look like on the cameras. And I apologize if it's more. I love it. This is what I do every day. So it's all about the release, the grip, and really the safety of the surface. That's the drive. You can see how his foot is more angled. Again, just same thing. So what the feedback was from all the players, right? 82% of them agreed strongly that the non-infill turf was like grass. Okay, only 17% for the high rubber. Again, those players that want to perform at that level. And then it's just basically strongly disagree versus agree in how they felt. At the end of the day, the field is just like grass. It's comfortable and fast from an elite soccer player. Okay, From our US feedback, we put a lot of SEC guys on it from LSU, and they felt it played extremely close to natural grass. So we're close to our goal. And then lastly, I just threw this in here just because we get a lot of conversation about microplastics, PFAS, all that stuff, which is very valid, but we don't utilize any of those products. So our stuff gets made without utilizing them, and where it lives in synthetic turf, just to be clear, is it's utilized in the extrusion process. So when you make the yarn, right, think of a Play-Doh maker. When you put the Play-Doh in and you push it down and the strings come out, that's how you make yarn. And PFAS was utilized as a lubricant of the heads. And then when this all came up a couple of years ago, it actually came up from, we're a largest supplier to Home Depot. And what happened was we got a phone call from the Maine store in Home Depot, and they said, hey, we got to ban you guys. Can't use you in Maine. And we're like, why? I'm like, because you're carpet. We're not carpet, we're turf. Well, we keep you in the carpet section. So because we were in that section, we didn't even know this was going on. So that brought it to our attention. And that's how we got ahead of it as one of the first manufacturers in the world because of this. And so we were able to eliminate it because, again, it plays such a small part to our product. So we were able to get completely out of it. So as of October of 2024, that he's got up there, we're 100% PFAS free. So. We're done, yeah.
I'll defer to my colleagues. Go ahead. Any first?
So what is the yarn made out of?
Polyethylene.
Okay, and there is no padding at all?
There's a pad that does go underneath it, correct?
But it's not the tire field, the tire rubber?
No. It's actually, that's made of, oh man, PP, so essentially styrofoam. And we manufacture that as well. That goes underneath all this.
And what are the breakdown characteristics? When it's water, does it go into the land, because turf has a reputation of causing problems with the water
Drainage?
and it's negative. I'm just curious about what exactly yours is as opposed to the turf that has the rubber.
Well, yeah, so a lot of that stuff.
I saw the presentation, but.
Yeah, no, a lot of the stuff that comes off the waterways and the big concern from Coastal Commission, stuff like that.
Right.
Is the crumb rubber. Okay, that's what walks off the field. Like if you've got children that play on it or well, like me, like a big child, it ruins your dryer because it's always coming home with you or it's in your car. So that's what's walking off. As far as the yarn itself, it's very minimal. But that's not what a lot of the conversations and things are. It's all about the black rubber.
Right.
So there's none of that in there.
Right. And how about like infections, like slide tackling and things like that have occurred in other turf experiences where there's examples of MRSA happening? Does this happen on this yarn as opposed to?
A lot of the MRSA stuff and like that staph infection stuff, that's a lot of carryover from locker rooms. Like COVID taught us a lot with UV. I mean, UV kills a lot. So a lot of that stuff would have been carried over from like a locker room. But yeah, I mean, from an abrasion standpoint, it's the crumb rubber. What happens with crumb rubber, right, is it's like it's a car tire, right? At the end of the day, it's like your trailer you left at your house for too long and it gets hard and brittle. That's what goes on in the fields. The sun just cooks it. So as time goes on, it gets more abrasive and sharp. That's what creates a lot of that high abrasion. With this product, we use a ton of small yarns. And in the past, in the rubber systems, they use big yarns, so they use a blade that big. In this system, we're using blades this big. And then we're taking a lot of them and entangling them. So what it actually does, which is we've been finding out from a lot of fields I've been putting in with younger kids on it, it's actually very comfortable. And that's the feedback we get from like the young kids. They like laying on it, which is weird to me because they've never laid on it before. They hated it because it was sticky, itchy, it was abrasive. They got stuck with the rubber on them. So
Right.
it's all those things. So now that we put these in, they love it. And they've been out on top of them and enjoying them. So it's actually a softer surface in relationship to abrasion.
So how do you think then that Governor Newsom and other agencies that are banning turf, they're talking only about the crumb rubber?
So the whole
Turf.
thing with Newsom was that was a Brown bill that he revoked. And he's not banning turf, he's just allowing for people.
Cities to say no,
He's just allowing you to vote on it.
right?
So where Brown basically said, no go. You can't even vote on it. So all that did was just open up the door to allow, cities and municipalities to make that decision for themselves.
Right,
So it wasn't a ban, more so it was just opening up that door.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other, and
Thank you. No, thank you.
Jen, Maggie?
And part of these questions are for Jason, in addition to you. Thank you so much for the presentation. If we could go back to the slide that looks at trade-offs between sod and turf. What slide was it? It was early on.
Like 3,
Yeah. And a lot of the articles, we were sent a number of articles from the community who is skeptical of past turf. I think this is it, the green side of synthetic. No, sorry, one more back. No, maybe this one's it. This is it, green side of either one of these.
There's a little
works.
bit of both.
That's
yeah.
fine. We were sent a number of articles, and what my takeaway from the articles that some of the community sent us was on the banning of turf with PFAS, right? And so I think your presentation addresses that this is a new version, new model of turf that's out there that reduces or eliminates PFAS from the conversation, which is really encouraging. And so when we get into some of the conversations that the community has had around turf, there are a lot of questions about what happens at the end of its life cycle. I had seen an article from 2022 on 10 Kate's company that said it was the first of its kind looking at doing a recycling process with Texas. And I don't know if they're still doing that, but they were first in the field to do that recycling process.
Yeah, so I was part of the development team on that. That's in conjunction with ExxonMobil and Cyclex. So yeah, we're the first ones to partner with them. And we built a facility, we built a test facility in Southern California. It started here. And what we did at that facility is we basically created a way to make sure that we could take a synthetic turf field and turn it back in 100% recycled and turn it back into virgin material. And so, yeah, we still have that. We have that one up in Southern California. We've got one in Louisiana. And yeah, so they take everything from us.
And so when we're talking about the life cycle of district resources in terms of, Dr. J, I think you might have quoted me, our maintenance costs are a little bit different from this, but annual maintenance, I think you had said from our landscaping team was about $14,000. Water was between $4,000 and $5,000. Sodding could cost anywhere between $65,000 and $75,000 a year. And based off of those early pictures of Vista, we know that that's going to be an annual process. And then also taking it offline 5 to 6 weeks a year. So I guess like looking in comparison to that, the numbers quoted here off of this, are we looking in the range of the synthetic football, soccer in that second column? Like what would we?
So you'd be looking at, basically it's a national average, so take into consideration. Ours are usually double these. Basically what you're looking at, right, the upfront cost of synthetic, you're not going to see your return on your investment until probably about the 10th year, okay, because you got to build the infrastructure.
Which is about the life cycle of synthetic?
So this product,
15.
No, 15 is more of a landscape product. This product, I would tell you, in that situation, probably is going to go about 10 to be safe, okay? And what you're paying for is you pay for the base prep, but once you do the base prep and the pad acquisition, you're done. You're just taking the carpet on and putting the carpet back on. So then your costs go down dramatically. So where you
After the first decade.
Yeah, so that's where you're going to see your big return. That's easy way to explain it. And then the way a lot of people look at it is from the event standpoint, is the ability to utilize it. In California, you're probably going to use that thing 8 hours a day, every day.
Right.
Yeah. So if you look at those numbers below for a 2-hour usage, that's where you start. It's about counting footprints at that point. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for that. And those numbers were pretty accurate to what you had.
Yes, those are quoted from our landscaper, Rigo, who's been with the district for over 30 years.
Thanks.
Thanks very much. You've answered a lot of the questions I had around evolution cost. Can you speak at all to the kind of, I don't know how well you know the area around here, but like I'm trying to get a sense of how many people go this path versus a natural path versus the rubber path. Like it feels to me like all the fields out there that I've seen going in are artificial. And as a small district with limited staff, to, do deep research. I sort of look at what other shoppers have done to sort of look at what is a wise purchase. What does the share of installations look like?
So, okay, so I did Miracosta next door. I would tell you the shares, it's interesting from north to south, right? So I would tell you in the state of California per year, between all the vendors, okay, you're probably looking at 150 to 200 fields per year installed. Typically, the valley, I would say the valley being from Bakersfield to, let's say, Visalia, maybe up to Atwater. You might see some more natural grass in there, and the only reason you're really seeing natural grass in there is because you've got the ag culture is so big, and they get a lot of donors that can come in and help do that. But even since the I call it the third generation of turf, where we started putting in natural infills and things like that, the valley was one of the fastest growing areas in California. But in Southern California, there's a solid 75 to 100 a year. And Southern California's actually been the slowest one, in my opinion, honestly, from a Western perspective, to actually switch into non-rubber fields. The majority of fields that get installed in Southern California are rubber fields. And the reason is, I'll be very honest, it's because of the water. When you get into the natural infill stuff, now you got to maintain it more. You've got to water it. Okay, you start going down that rabbit hole, and you start to realize, oh man, this isn't really making much sense. Okay, and they don't have the maintenance staffs to do all that. And so what we've learned from Northern California went 100% organic about 10 years ago. I don't think I put a rubber field in Northern California in probably at least 8. There's a kind of one-off municipality looking for a low-cost kind of thing. But what they've learned with those fields is that if they perform great, this day, by about this day, they're not performing so well. And it comes down to the fact that they don't have the staff to maintain the natural infill systems as well as they need to from a performance perspective of like your athletic director or your coaches. So what we're seeing now is this big trend up there to go to a non-infill. And we're seeing the Southern California people.
This being the non-infill.
Yeah, and there's other non-infills, but this one being the more preferred right now. But you're seeing Southern California people now really getting on board with, okay, we don't have the organic stuff, we don't want the rubber, and we know we want the pad, and we don't want to deal with the infill, and we don't have the staff. So we've got a lot of phone calls with this. Like I said, we're not a sales organization. You may have thought I was a beer company before I got here. Yeah, right. Like most people do. Yeah, right. So most people do, and I don't. And so it's just been an interesting thing. But yeah, that's really your kind of California statistic for you. And then as far as like the hotter places, like Vegas, so they did 40 fields with me 2 years ago. And you wouldn't think they'd ever put one in. Arizona's grown immensely with putting them in. And again, it's all this transition to these natural infills or non-infills. So it's helping the growth because they don't have the staff. So.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, I think we have a short-term decision in front of us about Vista, and then longer term, we're looking at our athletic facilities more generally. And I know that there's a lot of interest in the community about kind of what path we're going to go there. So I really appreciate you coming and providing us a lot of rich information so that we can both make more informed decisions as a board, but also help our community address some of their concerns. So again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to board action. Superintendent, item S4523/24, adopt the 2024-25 local control and accountability plan, annual updates, and local indicators. Ms. Gluck.
Adoption is recommended for the 24-25 Local Control and Accountability Plan and annual updates with the 24-25 local indicators for the California dashboard.
Any of my colleagues have any questions?
No.
Kathy, do you have any questions about the LCAP? Okay. If not, then I would like to ask a motion for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie. All in favor? Aye. Motion is passed. All right, moving on to business. Item B169, 23/24. Adopt the 24-25 local control funding formula budget. Ms. Montalvo.
Adoption is recommended for the 24-25 local control funding formula budget.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Aye. That is passed. Moving on to B170, 23/24, the LCFF budget overview for parents. Ms. Montalvo.
Approval is recommended for the 24-25 local control funding formula budget overview for parents, otherwise known as the BOP. There's always an acronym.
Like a good one, Paula.
Any questions from any of my colleagues?
Nope.
All right. A motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Kathy.
Second.
Thank you for the second, Maggie. All in favor? Aye. Motion is passed. Last item, the purchase of heating, I think it's the last, yes it is. Purchase of heating and ventilation unit under Resolution 170809 in the matter of the uniform public construction cost. Ms. Montalvo.
Approval is recommended for the proposal from Modern Air to replace the unit for room 29 with a new energy efficient HVAC system.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Fighting back tears here, I'm sorry.
Just to confirm that we've updated the facilities master plan with the HVAC numbers.
Yes, it was done today.
Thank you. Thank you. I need water. Is there any motion? Moved? Have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That rounds out the business of this agenda. I don't even see a roundtable item on here. Any questions, comments, or anything before I call for a motion to adjourn?
There was just, there was a city hall meeting, Alamara Suchi had a city hall meeting, town hall on Saturday. And it was really interesting. There's a few items on there that I just think that as a board, we should really get, just be aware that are in the zeitgeist right now, or just out there in the world that people are talking about. And so I'll send Jason some notes and maybe he can pass them out to everyone. Particularly about, sorry, I had them written down, but I'll have to find them, but I'll find my notes. But it was an interesting meeting, and there was like 3 areas in which he brought up that I thought were school related that we should all be well versed on.
Funding, pronouns, and
It was funding and pronouns. I can't remember the third one, but funding and pronouns were, yeah, 2 big ones. Anyway, that's all.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Maggie. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.